The pediatric ward of a New Orleans hospital was typically quiet, punctuated only by the beeping of machines and the soft murmur of nurses. Room 314, however, had been especially still. Inside lay Jordan Miles, a 14-year-old boy whose world had narrowed to 4 walls, an IV pole, and whispered conversations he barely responded to. Diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition that left him immobilized, Jordan hadn't spoken in nearly 2 months. His mother, Patrice, sat by his bedside, daily, reading to him, talking as though he could hear everything. She played gospel music, audiobooks, and motivational speeches. But Jordan remained unresponsive. One evening, exhausted and desperate, she pulled up a playlist she used to hear blasting from his room before the illness. His favorite rapper, Lil Wayne. The moment the first verse of 6 Foot 7 Foot played, something flickered in Jordan's fingers. A twitch. Patrice froze. She replayed the track. This time, his head moved. A nurse walking in dropped her clipboard. "He moved?" she asked. Patrice nodded through tears. It wasn't just movement, it was life. The news spread quickly through the ward. Doctors were cautiously optimistic, but they couldn't explain it. "It could be stimulation triggering the brain," one neurologist said. "Or it could be something else." Whatever it was, they played Lil Wayne again the next day, and, "Again," Jordan responded. Soon, his lips began forming words. He wasn't speaking yet, but he was trying. "He's finding his way back," Patrice whispered, "and Wayne is his lighthouse." Nurses began calling Jordan the comeback kid, and staff would walk by his door just to hear the music that was waking him up. By the end of the week, Jordan could whisper short sentences. When asked what he wanted to say first, he rasped, "I want to meet him." There was no need to explain who him was. Everyone in the hospital already knew. A staff member posted Jordan's story on Twitter, tagging Lil Wayne. The tweet read, "A boy in New Orleans is slowly waking from silence. Thanks to your voice. Show Lil Tunechi, this one's for you." Within hours, the post had over 100,000 likes and was being shared around the world. Patrice watched it all from the hospital waiting area, stunned by how fast the world responded. But for Jordan, the only thing that mattered was the music, and the dream that maybe, just maybe, Lil Wayne might hear him too. The story of Jordan Miles exploded on social media. From TikTok tributes to reaction videos on YouTube, millions of people tuned in to watch a young boy fight for his voice, inspired by the music of a hometown hero. News stations picked it up. "Lil Wayne fan awakens after weeks. Doctors stunned," read one headline. The narrative resonated with a world hungry for hope. Back in New Orleans, something unusual was happening. A divided city started coming together. People left flowers and letters outside the hospital gates. Local radio stations replayed Lil Wayne tracks in tribute. "We're all rooting for Jordan," one DJ said. "He's one of us." Inside the hospital, Jordan was making slow but steady progress. He could sit up with assistants now and had begun speaking short sentences. "Can you tell me your name?" a nurse asked one morning. Jordan smiled. "Wheezy baby," he joked, then chuckled. Everyone in the room burst out laughing. The hospital. Administrators noticed the overwhelming attention. A public relations officer contacted Lil Wayne's management. "We're not asking for PR," she clarified. "We're asking for presence." The message was relayed, but no one knew if it would ever reach him. Meanwhile, fans started a hashtag, #Wayne for Jordan. It trended for 2 days straight. Even celebrities chimed in. Snoop Dogg reposted the story. Nicki Minaj commented, "That boy got the spirit. Sure, Lil Tunchi, let's make this happen." Patrice stayed grounded amid the whirlwind. "The internet moves fast," she told a reporter. "But we move with Jordan's pace. If all this fades tomorrow, it's okay. My baby is coming back to me." Jordan, on the other hand, held tight to hope. Each day he asked the same question. Did he respond yet? The answer remained no. Still he smiled. "He will," he said. "I know it." And then, on a rainy Thursday afternoon, something changed. A black SUV pulled up quietly to the hospital entrance. Out stepped a man in dark shades, hoodie up, with 2 assistants. No announcement, no entourage, just Lil Wayne. He walked into the hospital like any other visitor, low-key and respectful. The nurses stared, wide-eyed. "You here for Jordan?" one asked. Wayne nodded. "Let's surprise him." Inside room 314, Jordan was mid-laugh with a volunteer when the door creaked open. He turned his head slowly. The silhouette was unmistakable. Tattoos, hoodie, and a familiar energy. For a moment, Jordan thought he was dreaming again. Lil Wayne pulled down his hoodie and smiled. "What's up, fam?" he said casually. Jordan gasped, eyes wide, mouth open, but no words. It took a second, but then, "You're real," he whispered. Wayne nodded and sat beside the bed. Patrice stood frozen, hand over her mouth. Tears streamed silently down her cheeks. "Thank you," she mouthed. Wayne gave a subtle nod, then turned back to Jordan. "I heard you've been rocking my joints from day one," he said. Jordan found his voice. "Your songs, they kept me alive." Wayne exhaled and rubbed his face. "Damn. That means more than awards, more than plaques. That's real." He pulled out a small box. "I brought something." Inside was a signed pair of Beats headphones, a hoodie from one of Wayne's tours, and a handwritten letter. Jordan held the hoodie like it was a trophy. "I'm never taking this off," he whispered. They talked for over an hour, about music, about life, about New Orleans. Wayne shared stories from his own childhood, how he grew up just blocks from the hospital. "We cut from the same cloth," he told Jordan. "Same streets, same struggle." Before leaving, Wayne said, "You know what would be wild? You and me writing a track." Jordan lit up. "Like, a real one?" Wayne grinned. "Why not? I'll bring the beats, you bring the bars, or the vibe." Jordan's vitals improved that night. His oxygen levels were better. He slept deeper. The doctors couldn't fully explain it. "Sometimes hope heals," one nurse said. And Wayne's visit had brought exactly that. Outside, a crowd had gathered, quietly cheering when Wayne exited the building. No press, no speeches, just a nod to the people, and he disappeared into the SUV again, leaving behind a room full of gratitude and a boy forever changed. True to his word, Lil Wayne's producer reached out the following week. "He meant it," the voice said. "Wayne wants to collab with Jordan. You down?" Jordan nearly dropped the phone. "Let's do it," he whispered, voice still frail but excited. Wayne arranged a mobile studio setup inside the hospital. Nurses helped clear a room next to the ward, a small keyboard, a laptop, a mic stand. Jordan was wheeled in like royalty. "Welcome to your first studio session," Wayne joked over FaceTime. They spent hours playing beats, humming melodies. Jordan couldn't rap yet, but he suggested lyrics, moods, even rhythms. Wayne listened closely, taking notes. "You got an ear," he said. "You already a producer." The track they created was called Lifted, a haunting beat with an uplifting chorus. Wayne handled the verses. Jordan's idea for the hook, "We rise even when they say we won't," became the soul of the song. When the final version was ready, Wayne posted a teaser clip on Instagram. The caption read, "Inspired by a fighter, created for the world." It amassed 8 million views in 24 hours. Local news called it the anthem of hope. But for Jordan, it was more than music. It was a way to speak. "I can't perform yet," he told his mom. "But this is my voice." She squeezed his hand. "And it's being heard, baby." Schools across Louisiana began playing the track during morning announcements. Teachers used it as a prompt for writing assignments. "What lifts you up?" one asked. Students wrote about dreams, families, and, of course, Jordan. A GoFundMe launched to support Jordan's ongoing treatment. Launched by fans. It raised over $200,000 in 2 weeks. But Jordan asked to redirect some of the money. "I want music rooms in hospitals," he said. "Every kid deserves sound." That's when the Lifted Foundation was born. Its mission, bring music, mentorship, and mental health tools to long-term pediatric care. Wayne agreed to be its first ambassador, and just like that, a hospital visit turned into a national movement. New Orleans had seen its share of hardship, storms, violence, poverty. But Jordan's story brought something different, a collective breath of inspiration. "We needed this," said a school principal. "We needed someone to remind us we can fight back." At Jordan's old middle school, murals began to appear. One showed him in a hospital gown, reaching toward a microphone shaped like a heart. Another depicted Lil Wayne handing him a torch, flames made of music notes. Artists said they were inspired to give the neighborhood new color. The mayor reached out to Patrice. "Your son's strength, it's contagious," she said. They arranged a community event called Lifted Day to honor Jordan, raise awareness for his foundation, and celebrate youth resilience. The event took place in a downtown park. Hundreds attended. Local musicians performed. Food vendors donated meals. Kids painted dream boards, while community leaders shared resources for mental health and music education. Wayne couldn't attend, but he sent a video message. "Jordan lit a spark. Y'all turned it into a fire. Keep burning bright." The crowd erupted in applause. Jordan, watching from a wheelchair near the stage, wiped tears from his face. For the first time in months, he stood, slowly, shakily, but determined. The crowd gasped. "You don't have to," Patrice whispered. But he nodded. "I do." He took 2 steps toward the mic, supported by a walker. I'm grateful," he said into the mic. "For life. For y'all. For the sound that brought me back." His voice cracked, but no one cared. The applause was thunderous, full of love, full of belief. The press called it a miracle, but everyone who knew Jordan called it something else. Inevitable. Because when hope is amplified, healing becomes unstoppable. That day, New Orleans didn't just honor a boy. It embraced a new belief, that communities rise when we lift each other. After the Lifted Day celebration, the hospital where it all started underwent changes inspired by Jordan. A proposal was approved to build a permanent music therapy room in the pediatric wing. It would be named Jordan's Jam Room. Donations came in not just from fans, but also from artists who had been moved by Jordan's journey. Guitars from John Mayer, a keyboard from Alicia Keys, drum pads, violins, and even a recording mic personally delivered by Questlove. Jordan visited the room during construction. Though still recovering, he walked with assistance now. "It's perfect," he whispered. "Now kids can play even if they can't talk." That phrase became the room's motto, painted across the entrance wall. Lil Wayne returned quietly to tour the facility. This time, he brought his daughter. "I wanted her to see what real strength looks like," he told Jordan. They sat together again, but this time, no cameras, just conversation. The room opened with a small ceremony. Jordan cut the ribbon with golden scissors, laughing, "This is better than my birthday." Inside, children sat on beanbags, strumming guitars, tapping beats. The room echoed with joy. One young cancer patient played her first piano chord and smiled for the first time in weeks. A boy recovering from a car accident began writing lyrics. The staff noticed a shift, not just in physical recovery, but emotional healing too. Word spread to other hospitals. "What's happening in New Orleans?" doctors from across the country asked. Articles appeared in medical journals about the impact of music therapy. And always, Jordan's name was mentioned. He was invited to speak at a pediatric healthcare conference. His speech, written with his mom and his speech therapist, was simple but powerful. "Before I could move again, I needed music to move me." The audience gave him a standing ovation. Jordan smiled and said, "Now, I want to do that for someone else." As Jordan regained his strength, his focus turned outward. He began working closely with therapists to design music kits for children in remote hospitals. Kits with recorders, rhythm sticks, headphones, and a USB drive with calming tracks, including Lifted. He recorded a message for each kit. "This is from someone who knows what silence feels like. Play until you hear yourself." Hospitals began sending thank you videos. Kids across the country played Lifted during treatments. Wayne invited Jordan to his private studio one weekend. "Time for you to spit your first verse," he said. Jordan laughed nervously. "I got bars, but I'm scared." Wayne leaned in. Scared is where the good stuff comes from. Together, they co-wrote a verse. Jordan's delivery was raw, but real. They said I wouldn't walk. Now I'm walking with a beat. My voice was buried, now it's rising from the street. Wayne was blown away. You're not a fan, he said. You're an artist. The track was released on Wayne's next album as a hidden bonus song. Listeners were stunned. Who was this kid with the raspy, emotional verse? The story dropped hours later, and once again, the internet exploded. Jordan started receiving messages from young artists, kids in wheelchairs, teens battling illness. You gave me hope, one wrote. You made me believe music could heal, said another. He and his mom decided to publish a children's book, The Beat That Woke Me Up. Illustrated with hospital scenes and music notes, it told his story, in a way kids could grasp. The first print run sold out in a week. Jordan was nominated for a Humanitarian Youth Award. I don't do this for awards, he told the audience. But if it helps shine light on what music can do, I'll take it. The more he healed, the more he lifted others. It was never about fame. It was about using what had saved him to save someone else. Months later, Jordan faced a setback. A sudden infection sent him back to the hospital. It was frightening. But this time, he wasn't the same scared boy. He was stronger, wiser. We know what to do, he told his mom. Doctors acted quickly. He recovered faster than expected. But the experience reminded him of the fragility of life. It made him more determined to push forward. We can't waste what we've been given, he wrote in his journal. Wayne visited again, this time with surprise guests, J. Cole and H.E.R. They came not to perform, but to talk. Your story lit up rooms we thought were dark, Cole said. Jordan smiled. Your verses lit me first. They spent the afternoon writing together. The hospital released photos. Jordan seated between the three musicians, notebook open, laughing. The caption, when stories meet songs, healing happens. The visit inspired a new initiative, Lyrics for Life, a songwriting program for hospitalized teens. The idea, turn pain into poetry, scars into songs. Wayne pledged full funding for the first year. Jordan served as a mentor, virtually coaching kids through writing. You don't have to rhyme perfect, he said on Zoom. Just be honest. The kids responded with verses about cancer, grief, hope, and hip-hop. He also launched a podcast with his mom called The Comeback Mic, where they interviewed survivors, caregivers, artists, and therapists. Their motto, healing isn't linear, but it's always lyrical. Each episode ended the same way. Jordan playing Lifted on a small keyboard with his voice layered in, soft but steady, because no matter how hard the fall, the beat goes on. A year after Jordan's first whisper of life to a Lil Wayne song, a concert was held in the Superdome. It was called Lifted Live. Artists donated time, fans donated funds. Jordan, now walking confidently, opened the show. He stood before thousands and said, "You don't have to be loud to be heard. You just have to speak your truth." The crowd erupted. Then, the beat dropped. Lifted began to play. And out came Wayne, walking side by side with Jordan. They performed the track together for the first time. Jordan's voice, imperfect, beautiful, cut through the stadium. He wasn't a patient anymore. He was an artist, a movement, a reminder of what's possible. Backstage, Wayne wrapped an arm around him. You changed me too, he said. I used to think I had to be hard all the time. But watching you, that's real strength. Jordan smiled. Real strength is knowing when to rest. Wayne laughed. You spittin' bars off stage now, huh? After the show, a scholarship fund was launched in Jordan's name, supporting youth in music and medicine. The Lifted Foundation expanded nationwide. Hospitals began integrating music rooms as part of pediatric recovery. Jordan went on to study music therapy in college. I want to be the person I needed, he told his class. His professors knew they weren't teaching just a student. They were nurturing a leader. In every note he played, in every story he told, Jordan carried the echoes of silence. and the sound that shattered it. Because once upon a time a boy heard a song in a hospital room, and that song helped him rise. Day he sings so others know. They're not alone. They too can be lifted.